Gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Bentivolio.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, and thank you, distinguished members of the subcommittee and those testifying before us today. Thank you very much. We appreciate hearing all these stories from our witnesses, and it's awful what has happened to you. And hearing you and your testimony, and those from my own district, it appears that the President has a war on the Constitution. You know, I always believed the IRS was supposed to be objective and treat everybody equally. But under this administration and IRS, I guess some groups are more equal than others. It has almost been 9 months since this has been made public, and we're no further along than when the initial report was released. Instead, we get typical Washington double talk, sidestepping the issue, happy talk, and verbal moonwalking. These individuals testifying before us today deserve to have action taken. We need to hold this administration and the IRS accountable, and I'm committed to making that happen. In the hearing that was held in May of 2013, I asked Mr. Schulman of the IRS numerous questions about the Constitution and Bill of Rights. I asked if IRS agents take classes on the Constitution or Bill of Rights, and he didn't know. Mr. Schulman is a lawyer, and I asked him if he knew the First, Second, and 19th Amendments. He told me he didn't have the Constitution memorized. That's pretty bad. I'm guessing, Mrs. Engelbrecht, right?
Yes, sir.
Right? Thank you. I'm guessing you're all familiar with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Can you tell me what the First Amendment is?
First Amendment gives us freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
Right, and a few others. How about Second Amendment?
Right to keep and bear arms.
19th Amendment.
That gave women the right to vote.
Favorite amendment. Yes. Do you think IRS agents should have a right or should have to take training in the Constitution and Bill of Rights?
Absolutely.
Now I want to ask you about Tea Party. I'm a member of the Tea Party, but I can't really say that because I've never filled out an application to join a Tea Party. Is that something, do you have to fill out an application to join a Tea Party?
No, Tea Party's a frame of mind.
That's right. You just show up and you listen to what they're saying, and if you agree with it, you know, you can join in the conversation, learn more possibly, or just leave, correct?
That's correct.
You're peacefully assembling to address some grievances and ask some questions. Because I think, if you're like me, you felt something was wrong. Something was wrong in Washington, but you couldn't really put your finger on it. Is that a correct assumption?
That's absolutely the correct assumption.
That's,
and I assume that we could ask questions.
That's right, you can. And, you know, as a former teacher, kids would come in and ask questions. I never, you know, I try to answer those questions as best I could. And if I didn't know the answer, I'll try to get the answer for them. Is that pretty much what you're doing?
That's what I'm trying to do.
Right, I understand. And in civics class, you remember civics class?
I remember
Teacher
when they
got
were in
up
our
there
public
in front
schools.
of the classroom.
Yes,
classroom for all kids from all kinds of backgrounds, you name it. And he or she, the civics teacher, said, you have an obligation to get involved in what's going on in the world. Did you ever hear something like that or words to that effect?
That's how I was raised.
That's right. That's how you were raised. That's how I
community.
was raised, and so many other Americans. And now that you're doing that, the government, the IRS, OSHA, and I have no doubt because I've experienced it myself when my fellow teachers found out I was running for office with an R after my name, suddenly couldn't do anything right. Never got a complaint, and all of a sudden, I'm a conservative. You know, I have a great belief that this country, that this country, how can I say this? The greatest thing about this country is our cultural, religious, and ethnic diversity. And, you know, I believe the other side agrees with that, too. Unless, of course, you have an R or you're conservative after your name. Would you agree with that assumption?
I think it's a correct assumption that the best thing about this country is its people, and maybe we've lost our way for a little bit, but we're finding it back.